let's talk about something every business leader, every manager absolutely dreads. That phone call, that empty desk, that sudden surge in work with no one to do it. These kinds of workforce disruptions can bring a company to its knees. Today, we're going to unpack the whole story, how we've been dealing with this for decades, and how a massive tech shift is flipping the entire script.
And just to set the stage, to show you how big of a deal this is, look at this number. $2.4 trillion. That's how much workforce disruptions cost U.S. businesses every single year. Yeah, trillion with a T. It's a mind-boggling figure. So you gotta ask, where does all that money go?
Well, it's not just one thing. It's death by 1,000 cuts. It's the productivity that just vanishes into thin air when a position is empty. It's the burnout and the extra cash you're shelling out for overtime just to keep things afloat. It's your customer service taking a hit, the money you waste training someone who's a bad fit anyway, and, the giant administrative nightmare of just managing the chaos. It all adds up, fast.
Now, for the longest time, we had a solution, the traditional staffing agency. It was born out of real need. And honestly, it was the only game in town for a while. But here's the catch. We're trying to use a 70-year-old tool to fix a very, very modern problem. And it's starting to show.
I mean, just think about this timeline. This whole model got its start way back in the 1950s. By the 80s, it was all about who you knew. It was that classic Rolodex in a prayer system. You'd call your guy and hope for the best. But once the digital age really hit full stride in the 2010s, man, the cracks in that old system started to look like canyons. Now, to be fair, let's give credit where it's due. The traditional model solved some huge problems. It kept the lights on, for sure. It let companies scale up for those crazy peak seasons and gave them a way to find someone with a very specific skill set. It even took care of the messy stuff like payroll. For a long time, it was a genuine lifeline. But, and it's a big but, that lifeline was full of knots. An emergency fill that takes 3 to 7 days? That's not really an emergency response. The quality was a total coin toss. You'd get these awful skill mismatches, and the cost, all sorts of hidden fees and crazy markups. Plus, if your crisis hit on a Friday afternoon, tough luck, see you Monday. And worst of all, it was a gamble. You were locked into a contract before you even knew if the person could actually do the job.
Okay, so this is where the story gets really interesting. All of those failures, all of that frustration, it created the perfect opening for something new. A total revolution, driven not by a Rolodex, but by the raw power of artificial intelligence.
And when you put the two side by side, it's not even a fair fight. Look at this. Response time goes from days to hours. Gut feeling matching is replaced by pinpoint AI analysis. The risk of paying up front for a bad fit? Gone. Replaced by a zero-risk trial. And 9-to-5 support becomes 24/7. This isn't just a little better, it's a different universe.
So how does it pull this off? Well, first, the AI scans everything. Huge databases, work history, skills, in seconds to find that perfect match. Then, it does all the grunt work, the deep stuff, like background checks and validating skills, all automatically. But, and this is the key, it doesn't take humans out of the loop. The AI gives its best recommendations to a real person, a manager, who makes the final, smart, data-driven call. Best of both worlds.
And let's talk about risk again, because this is a complete game changer. Remember the old way? Pay the fee, sign the contract, and just hope? The new way flips that on its head. You can test drive up to 5 different candidates on the job without spending any dime up front. You only pay when you know you found the right person. The gamble is just gone.
And the financial results are, frankly, insane. This isn't just about feeling safer, it's about radically cutting costs. The companies who are jumping on this early, they're reporting an 83% drop in their total staffing costs. 83%. That's what happens when you get rid of the waste, the bad hires, and all those sneaky fees.
But here's the thing. It's not just cheaper. It's actually better. The AI is so good at predicting who will be a good fit, not just for the skills, but for the culture, that you see a 91% improvement in keeping people. You stop just filling a seat for a few weeks and start finding someone who's going to stick around and add real value.
So it's faster, cheaper, and gets better results. That's a pretty great story, right? But that's not actually the secret. The true revolution here, the real mind-blowing part, is something much bigger than just reacting to problems better.
So what is it? What's the real magic trick that makes all this possible? It's a total shift in how you think about the problem.
Because look, anyone can try to be a faster firefighter. That's not the ultimate goal. The real goal is to make sure the fire never starts in the first place. The goal is to eliminate the emergency. Period.
And this is how. It's called predictive workforce analytics. The AI isn't just sitting around waiting for you to call in a panic. No, it's constantly scanning the horizon.
It's looking at market trends, economic data, even your own company's patterns to see trouble coming. And it gets the right talent lined up before you even know you need them.
And when you do that, when you stop living in crisis mode and start predicting what's next, staffing transforms. It stops being a headache and starts being a serious competitive advantage.
For any business, this is basically the dream scenario. You get zero downtime because you always have the perfect person ready. You get predictable costs because you've eliminated the risk and waste. And maybe the best part? Your leaders can finally stop putting out fires and actually focus on growing the business.
And that really brings us to the final critical point. In today's world, the winners aren't going to be the ones who are best at reacting. They're going to be the ones who don't have to react at all. So the question for any company isn't, can we afford to do this? The real question is, can we afford not to?